Tuesday, August 1st, 1944. On the move again. At the rate we're going, we must be close to Avranches, in which event we shall have the complete Cherbourg Peninsula in our hands, and then, I suppose it's on to Paris. We have about 50,000 Germans cut off at the present, and brother, they are really battling to get out of the trap. Although they have abandoned much ammunition and supplies, in retreating, they still have plenty left. We appreciate that only too well by the number of heavy shells they continue to hurl at us. Here we are now on a hill, our objective en route to Countenance. Our armor in huge numbers has gone ahead to a spot about 3 to 4 miles from here, where a gigantic tank battle is in progress. It is rumored that we shall soon be assigned to the role of Division Reserve. I hope it is true because we need reorganization for reasons I had better not mention at this time. There is a good deal of small arms fire, especially from German machine pistols not far away. The trapped and outnumbered enemy continues to fight. As we advanced, evidence of the effective work of our armored divisions could be seen in the many German tanks that were demolished and, in some cases, blasted off the road. At this point of the game, our advance is so rapid that we are able to move along main roads instead of the usual slow hedgerow hopping with which we were only too familiar not long ago. Gosh, I would love to say Mass again. I am learning to love that magnificent privilege even more and more since being deprived of it. A scene in a collection station reminds me of a fact about which I may not have written. Visually, the guts of these American kids. 2 patients lay side by side, an American and a German. The American with a leg nearly shot off didn't even whimper. The latter, with only a slight shrapnel wound, moaned and carried on like an infant. Just a note of which many of us may be proud. One boy made me regret my feelings of yesterday when he said, "Father, I don't know what we would all do if you were not with us, and I am speaking for all the boys." Wednesday, 8/2. The news today, thank God, is very encouraging. I have learned that Brittany is now cut off. If those 50,000 trapped Germans on our flanks would give in, we should be well on our way towards a successful drive to Paris. At any rate, this tragedy cannot go on much longer. I was sorely tempted to accept an invitation to join the paratroops and train in England. I understand that they need priests, but I am concerned that there is much work to be done right here. Had Mass in a barn at 1700. I could only permit 12 men, 2 confessions, and 9 received. It was wonderful to be able to offer holy sacrifice again. A war correspondent requested the story of last Sunday's tragedy. After deliberating, I begged leave to refrain from giving in. Too many potentialities may evolve therefrom, and 2 wrongs will never make a right. 8/3. Had Mass's schedule for today, but our forward troops having advanced so rapidly were obliged to pack up and follow. Such indeed was, by the way, a welcome novelty to us. We moved forward about 5 miles and bivouacked for a night. It was too late for Mass when we arrived, much to my regret. More mail today from wives and sweethearts as well as mothers of our boys. Many such hearts will be broken when the real news of their loved ones becomes available. It distresses me very much to be unable to help at the present time. Prepared and submitted my monthly reports today. By the way, our advance today was slowed down by innumerable mines and traps. Didn't see any enemy all day. At least living ones, all of which is also something new, thank God. The prospects for a quick completion of the war look very promising. 8/4. Off again on a 4-mile advance. I hope our continued movements forward do not have an ominous consequence. Either the enemy is running like a scared rabbit or leading us into a trap. Please God the latter will not be true, and if not, then this is the beginning of the end in this Battle of Normandy. To give an idea of how fast we are moving, yesterday this area was occupied with Germans. The enemy is leaving all sorts of supplies and ammunition behind in his flight. However, he does take the time to lay plenty of mines. Our engineers are having a devil of a time clearing them out. We are in Division Reserve at the moment, which may mean an easier time of it until we are committed. The whole regiment welcomes the slight letdown because we need more replacements and especially staff officers. Moved on another 2 miles and then bivouacked for the night. There was little action on the front. Still can't find the enemy in any large force. Saturday, August 5th. A rather quiet day. There is a definite lull even in our artillery, many of the big 240s set up close to our area. Had Mass at 1100, in which about 100 men were present. 23 received, 40 to confession, before and after Mass. If circumstances permit, I plan to have Mass in the Red Battalion area this afternoon. At 14:30 hours, I went over to the Red Battalion and had Mass. A crowd of about 250 were on hand, about 50 of whom were French, 7 communions, 14 confessions after Mass. It was a great lesson to all of us, the French unable to speak English and we unable to speak French, yet the Holy Sacrifice was something we all had in common, the beauty and unity of the faith. Sunday, 8/6. A lovely day in every way thus far. Mass in our White Battalion at 900 and then in Blue Battalion at 1100. About 300 in each Mass. 145 confessions and communions. Total attendance 600, confirmations 145, communions 145. When we returned to the White Battalion, we had moved forward. Rapid advancement seems to be the trend of the times. I had Mass scheduled for Red Battalion at 1400, but they too are now on the road moving fast. Hope I can catch up with them this evening in their new bivouac area. The weather is clear and warm. What a beautiful country this could be in which to tour instead of fight. I am now the senior regimental chaplain, though it will probably be for only a short time. Charlie Schilling is expected to return before very long. It is great to see these French people get dolled up for Mass. During the week they look like poverty-stricken peasants, but on Sunday they are quite the thing. No Mass for Red Battalion, as we all moved forward at about 1300 hours, a move into enemy territory under cover of darkness. On the alert right along, we sleep almost until the break of dawn. August 7th and 8th. Our companies cleared out the pockets of enemy resistance. The prisoners are coming in droves. I talked to a group this morning. They are a real sad lot, but most happy to surrender. Our artillery plus constant bombing is apparently driving them mad. They appear now to be disorganized and realize that the master race is nothing more than an absurd myth. At this point, again, I am very tired. I have lost a great deal of weight, and I feel quite weak. Enough said. Tonight we were the object of heavy air artillery fire and bombs. My physical condition has become bad. Consequently, I decided I had better go back for a change of environment and convalescence. Back I went to Service Company area, some 10 miles behind the front, from whence I write these notes. Gene O'Grady and I, by the way, are the only regimental chaplains in the division who have been on the front and in battle since the invasion. I tried to remain, but my nerves were about to break. A few days rest here, and please God, I shall be able to return to the front. Perhaps I should also have the chance to say Mass while here, and that will be grand. August 9th and 10th. 2 days of glorious rest and relaxation back here in the Service Company area. During the day it has been wonderfully quiet. Only at night is our rest interrupted by the Luftwaffe. On Wednesday, a Jerry was shot down by one of our night fighters and crashed into flames only 100 yards from where I write. I have been able to catch up on some correspondence. Wives and mothers of our boys who are MIA are bombarding me, and understandably so, with letters of inquiry. Unfortunately, I can offer them little help because the disposition of their loved ones is unknown to us. I was able to write a letter of condolence to the wife of Lieutenant Jim Monahan. She had been informed that he was KIA. Also handled a welfare case via mail to Sister Ruth DePaul of Paterson, New Jersey, regarding Colonel Good, her brother, whom we know to be a prisoner. About the other cases, I don't know what to do. Had Mass at 1100, about 50 men present, 15 confessed, and 8 received. The weather has been great. I have made many contacts with the men who are here. The news from the front, to which I must return tomorrow, has been very good, though we continue to lose many of our boys. I feel much better since my sojourn here. My nerves have returned to normal. My strength is not what it should be, but I feel that a return soon is advisable. Handled a welfare case involving a French family today. I could use a good secretary for about a week, and perhaps thereby my problems of correspondence might be solved. Friday, 8/11. Mass at 1100, 50 were present, 10 confessions, 6 received. Returned to the front this evening, just in time to take part in the attack. What an evening and what a night. We advanced accordingly to plan, but were pinned down several times. The enemy seems to hide the big guns during the day from our artillery and planes, and wisely so, because he wouldn't have them very long otherwise. But under the cover of darkness, the enemy really goes to town. Jerry planes drone in the sky all night long, and all by themselves in the absence of our night fighters. Last night and tonight was horrible, as we were constantly being shelled and bombed. Many German shells are duds. They never explode, probably thanks to some underground works, but there are plenty of live ones. We had no sleep all night long, and here I am just as tired as I was before the rest period. There was very little small arms fire. The enemy seems to be withdrawing all along the line, but his 88s and artillery certainly are effective in the darkness. 8:12. Tried to get back some of the lost sleep, but in vain. Enemy artillery, shells plus our own, are whistling overhead even as I write. Our men are very tired and nervous, a perfectly understandable thing since they lack sleep and nourishment. Furthermore, as usual, we are leading the American attack in this sector. The shelling became quite heavy this evening, and so we moved the aid station back about 100 yards. A sensible arrangement under any circumstance. It seems to me quite unnecessary and sometimes foolish to set up an aid station close to the front, especially at night, when it is extremely difficult to work on patients. My equipment, which was lost some 2 or 3 days ago, has not turned up as yet, a fact that distresses me because I left both my office and the holy oils with the equipment. The prisoners taken today were the usual beat-up crew, convinced that they cannot hold out much longer. I hope and pray they are correct. However, they certainly continue to put up a stiff fight. Sunday, 8/13. A relatively quiet night, thank God, with only a few minor casualties. At 1500 hours, the enemy was observed, retreating, whereupon we moved on after them, about 2 miles, before they made a stand. Here I am in our newly established battalion aid station. We are again very close to the front, a fact quite evident from the reports of small arms fire only 100 yards or less away. The artillery is beginning to explode all around us now. In fact, way too close for comfort. Here it is, 1700 hours, another Sunday without Holy Mass. Dear God, if I could offer holy sacrifice daily, I shall feel so much better. What a blessing it would be for these boys to get some relief. They need it very badly. We advanced a little further and then went into defensive positions for the night, set up in a barn, as usual, in the midst of straw and manure, but I was able to get a good night's sleep. 8:14. Once more the enemy withdrew during the night, and we went after them. At the present, I am jotting these notes while resting in the steeple of a beautiful church. We are en route to St. Joan de la Forêt. When I entered the church, which is in good condition, thank God, despite the devastation all around it, a number of our Catholic boys were praying at the altar. The thought struck me. Probably German Catholic soldiers prayed here also a short time ago. I am more and more convinced that there is one bond capable of maintaining true peace in the world, and that is the Catholic faith. During the evening, a battery of German 88s sneaked up on us and caused some damage until we knocked it out. We set up an aid station opportunely enough in a building wherein there were found 3 cases of spirits, including brandy, cognac, and champagne, and some gin. There were no teetotalers in our midst, and still no one overdid it. It was a good boost and most opportune. The same story, a rather quiet night, and the enemy retreated under the cover of darkness. The usual large roundup of prisoners was in evidence. Tuesday, 8:15. This morning we were overjoyed to see the 115th Regiment move into our positions. They are now at full strength and should be able to really go to town. There is still no news of relief for us. I do hope and pray that there is one forthcoming, because our men are very tired, and we are sadly under strength. We moved forward about 3 miles this morning, rested, and then on again we went another 3 miles. We are now dug in, and I hope remaining for the night. My bed this evening is quite unusual. A beer barrel. I am getting quite tired of digging foxholes, hence the latest in boudoir. In the quietude of my barrel, I enjoyed a comfortable night's rest, thank God. At last it has been confirmed. Our regiment is to be relieved for a rest and reorganization tomorrow. I am very glad. On the road today, we ran across a large number of colored French Moroccans who had been used as slaves by the Germans. They are happy to be free and now want to fight with us against their former persecutors. Wednesday, 8/16. Onward we move, the enemy apparently retreating at great speed. However, our advance is not too easy, what with such obstacles as mines, booby traps, poisoned water, etc., ever present. The French are quite vindictive at this stage of the game. Today our guards had to protect a number of German prisoners from a mob of enraged Frenchmen and women. I forgot to mention that 2 days ago we drank champagne out of canteen cups. I wonder what the poor people are doing these days. Thank God we will be relieved. At about 1800 we started back. At the present moment we are enjoying relative quiet and consequent relaxation, also the luxury of a hot meal. A great and necessary improvement all around. Thursday, 8/17. A good night's sleep and a hot breakfast. Off to a good start. Mass at 1100, at which about 100 were present, 60 communions, 15 confessions. It's lovely here in the rest area. We shall soon have mobile showers, movies, etc. Even some glamour is on hand in the form of 4 Red Cross girls who disperse coffee, donuts, and charm. Now that I am regimental chaplain, I conferred with my company workers and found them as well as one might expect. There is a beautiful church in town. I should just love to have Mass for all our Catholic men therein on Sunday. We shall try to arrange it, please God. Friday, 8/18. A lovely day of relaxation in this ideal area far removed from the front. I really got myself cleaned up today, haircut, shave, shower, new clothes and all. Had a nice visit from Father Jim Kenny this evening. He is back with the Division Artillery. Did some reading today and got off some correspondence. Had Mass for Blue Battalion at 1700 hours, about 100 on hand, 90 at Holy Communion, and about 10 confessed after Mass. Saturday, 8/19. Quite a day. At almost 1000 hours, I was formally presented with the Silver Star Medal for Gallantry in Action of Sunday, 30 July 1944. Made arrangements for services tomorrow among the units in the regimental area. Had Mass at 1100 hours in our own battalion area, which about 100 were present, 45 received, 15 confessed. In the evening, I completed arrangements for tomorrow and prepared my sermon. My second Mass of the day at 1630 in Red Battalion. An unusually fine crowd, about 250. 125 received, 12 confessions. Dropped in for a few minutes on the USO show, featuring Dinah Shore. Visited with Chaplains Vanda Art and Wiley of the other battalions. All seemed ready for tomorrow. Rumor has it that we shall move to a new front tomorrow night. Sunday, 8/20. At 0930 hours, we had Mass in the Catholic Church of Notre Dame. 150 men received, 20 confessions. I was so happy to be in church again, and such a lovely church. It was obvious to the men they were grateful for the opportunity. The boys took up a collection themselves for the French priests and for the needy. They are great lads. At 1100 hours, had a Mass in Blue Battalion area, attended by at least 150, 75 at communion. Caught up with some correspondence, including welfare cases via the mail. We are expected to move tomorrow. Oh well, anything to get it over. Figures, 650 attended, 20 confessions, communions 225. Monday, 8/21. An ideal day for rest and relaxation, and that is just what I did. It rained continuously during the day. I managed to cover some correspondence, especially to relatives of our boys who are missing in action. Unfortunately, there was very little I could say. In fact, the loved ones at home will receive information through the International Red Cross. We do leave tomorrow on a long trip for a mission I had better not mention at this time. The news of the world seems very good. Perhaps the end of this tragedy is in sight. Please God, I hope it is. Tuesday, 8/22. Well, here we are, on the front. It all began Tuesday at noon, and we learned that we were to travel some 250 miles. It seems that the port of Brest must be taken, and our division was selected to help, if not effect the capture. What a trip! Continuously riding day and night roughly through Fergus, Rennes, Ludeck, and chateau until we arrived at our present area some 10 miles outside of Brest. Incidentally, we left from a village near Avranches. One happy feature of the present is this. After we take Brest, our unit will be nearly 400 miles from Paris. Maybe then we'll get some real rest. The trip here was exciting by day, but most unpleasant at night. French people cheered the column all the way, throwing flowers, kisses, etc., shouting love of America as we passed by. The night ride was made in a blinding rainstorm, and we're all soaking wet and cold. It was miserable. Refugees from Brest, including one priest, maintained that the Germans cannot hold out more than a few days. Dear God, I hope we can do the job with a minimum of bloodshed. This peninsula of Brittany is beautiful. I have never seen a more attractive country. Rumor has it that we shall occupy Brest after its capture. That would be wonderful. I must try to have Mass here tomorrow. We are not far from the enemy, but thus far, thank God, things have been rather quiet. Tuesday, 8/24. Artillery being heard only occasionally in the distance. This morning I tackled correspondence problems, especially regarding the MIA cases. Had Mass at 11:30, with a good crowd of more than 100, 3 confessions and 3 received. I visited with some men in Red Battalion this evening. I have arranged to have Mass there tomorrow. Present plans call for an attack upon our objective tomorrow afternoon, but I understand and I hope the siege will not be necessary. It all depends upon the new German commander of the port. We have the place surrounded and can call upon air as well as sea bombardment if necessary. It was hoped that the trapped enemy would surrender. If not, we shall have to drive them out. What a shame they will not face the hopelessness of their position. At any rate, there is no sign of capitulation at the moment. Friday, 8/25, another clear day. Pleasant day, thank God. This morning I really got to work on the MIA and KIA correspondence to the tune of 9 letters. Had Mass for the Red Battalion at 11:30, and about 150 were present. Within the last week, all the Catholic boys of the regiment have had the opportunity of receiving the sacraments. We have given men of all faiths the maximum opportunity to worship God in their own manner. Here it is 16:20, and our columns are moving forward towards Brest, which is already surrounded by other units. It seems that the trapped enemy refuses to surrender. We'll have to fight it out. Waves of our planes have been smashing the city, and our advanced regiments are already on the attack. We shall probably soon be in the battle. Bivouacked for the night. Saturday, 8/26. Moved forward at 0700 and passed through St. Renan, where we were, again, mobbed by joyous French civilians. If they cut out the horror, this wouldn't be a bad war. A strange but enjoyable incident in St. Renan. A lovely nun stood with a cheering crowd. I stepped over to talk with her in my best French. I almost fell over when she answered, "Good morning, Father. Do you have any boys from New England in your outfit?" She explained that she had spent 9 years in Connecticut and Massachusetts. We had a nice chat, and I regretted being unable to accept an invitation to breakfast. We had to move on. We are now in a field about 4 miles from Brest. It is 1100 hours, and hundreds of shells are hitting the enemy in the harbor, of whom there are reported to be about 30,000. We are so close that the ground vibrates, even here, and enemy flak is falling close by, something new by the way of experiences. Advance another 2 miles towards Brest, and put up in a barn for the night, wherein we treated a number of our casualties. The French, mostly evacuees from Brest, were exceptionally generous to us. Sunday, 8/27. What a shame I couldn't have Mass for the men this morning. However, at 1100 hours we had Mass in a private house next to the aid station. About 100 were present. About 75 of them were French. Through an interpreter, I welcomed the good French and assured them memento in my Mass. After the sacrifices, I said prayers in Latin as well as in English. It is the custom in this country to say 3 Hail Marys and the Salve. Our attack seems to be going according to plan. The enemy situation is hopeless. It is only a matter of time before we drive them out. Still, they continue to fight, and we have to suffer casualties. Our aid station today was international, what with patients including Americans and German soldiers, plus French civilians. In the evening, things quieted down, and we gathered around the French evacuees. Although we had little to say through lack of mutual understanding, we did join in singing Ave Maria. When it comes to the faith, we always have something in common. Monday, 8/28. The enemy shelled us with long-range artillery last night, but most of the shells were duds. This morning it rained, but a break in the clouds gives promise of a pleasant afternoon. I hope to have Mass today. At the present, I am awaiting my Mass kit. One of the medics went and picked it up at the battalion motor park. At 1400, we packed up and moved onwards towards the heavily fortified and stubbornly defended port of Brest. Our casualties have become high again. We are opposed by veteran Nazi paratroopers who seem reluctant to surrender. It has become the same type of fighting from hedgerow to hedgerow as that of unhappy memory some months ago. Our aid station is now set up in what was once St. Anne's School. As luck would have it, we arrived just in time to be caught in the middle of a terrific tank battle. Tuesday, 8/29. Here I am in the cellar of St. Anne's School jotting down some notes. What a life. At least this is better than digging foxholes. I think they had better abandon plans to take Brest with a minimum of damage. It would be better to blast the city from the air and concentrate on a minimum of American casualties. It is so very rough going. The enemy has infested the land with mines, booby traps, barbed wire, etc. I met 2 French priests today, and a nun. They visited the school in which we are set up. It was a miserable night, cold and wet. To add to our woes, the enemy dropped 2 large artillery shells right in the aid station. Not one casualty, thank God. Wednesday, 8:30, and Thursday, 8:31. It is raining again today. A tough break, because we shall probably once more be without our much-needed air support. It is always a blessing to have our planes and little Piper Cub hovering overhead. The building was hit again by the Germans tonight. No casualties, thank God. On Thursday morning, I went to the rear for my turn of duty at the clearing hospital. I enjoyed the quiet, the hospital being about 15 miles from the front. After visiting with the patients, I was able to rest and also to see a movie and to attend an excellent GI show. All in all, I really enjoyed my day at the hospital. Had Mass, at which 20 were present. Friday, September 1st. Returned from the hospital back to the front at about 11:30. The enemy proved very inhospitable by dropping shells around the jeep en route. The news of the world is, indeed, very good, but we still have a terrific battle on our hands in this fight for Brest. The weather is clear today, whereupon our planes made a most consoling appearance. Very few casualties today, thank God, despite a mile advance nearer our objective. On September 2nd, 1944, Father Gerard of the 29th Division, 175th Infantry, suddenly ran a fever. He was sent back as a patient in a division clearing hospital. Weeks later, his condition seemed to be puzzling the doctors. He continued to run fevers and noted in his diary that he had lost more blood while in the hospital than he ever did at the front. In the coming weeks, he would be transferred from hospital to hospital. By November, his fever would disappear and reappear. At one point, he did expect to go back to the 10th replacement, but the order was rescinded, and they put him back in the hospital. Father Gerard never really recovered. In the coming months, he was discharged with battle fatigue. Father Gerard Taggarts spent almost 90 days on the front carrying 2 little diaries and jotting down everything he saw and noting the bravery of the boys and passing on to the men the grace of no undue fear, no fear of ill will, no fear of physical harm, but only the fear of offending God by sin. He had witnessed the brutality of war. He had witnessed the bravery of the men, and after 90 days on the front, it finally took a toll on his body. Father Gerard Taggarts died on March 17th, 1950. His funeral was attended by thousands from all over the world, 24 hours a day for over 3 days. The horrors that he had witnessed was truly heartbreaking, but he never gave up faith, and he passed that faith on to the men. Father Gerard Taggarts was a true man of God. Thank you for watching these videos and letting me share with you the writings from the battle diaries of Father Gerard Taggarts, and God bless our soldiers. Thank you.